Boy Joe 672 coming to you guys with a video right now. So I want to go over Nate Gerry. Okay, Nate Gerry is getting a lot of recognition in training camp, which I didn't really know too much. Because it's really hard to hear about everybody from everybody's perspective. But Nate Gerry has taken all the first team reps. And I don't know if this was due after the Camus injury. I mean, it sounds like this has been going on for a while. John McMullen from ESPN said some really good things. But at the same time, Kevin Fajol, the linebacker coach, had a lot of really overwhelming things to say about Nate Gerry. Okay, so I'm going to read this real quick just to clarify what they're talking about. John McMullen says, "Don't sleep on Nate Gerry. He's taken out all the first team reps at Eagles camp so far, and here's what Coach Kevin Fajol said about him. Nate, without a doubt, is probably the brightest guy. He's smarter than I am in the meeting room. He gets it. When you've got back-end perspective, particularly when it comes to the coverage part of it, I think it gives you a unique perspective because all of a sudden, he's the one guy that understands how everything fits together with the back end." You really can't put Nate Gerry down. Like I said, when the coaches were talking about Nate Gerry before training camp even happened, when all the coaches were all the positional coaches were talking about their players and who's the front runners and what's going on, Kevin Fajol said some things about Nate Gerry, that he's very reliable. And this is before training camp happened. So this is Nate Gerry. Nate Gerry was drafted a few years back, okay, and a couple years back, and he was a safety coming out of college, and he had to switch positions. Now, how much different is going from safety to linebacker? Maybe a tink different, but you're kind of almost doing the same thing a little bit. But with Nate Gerry, we never really didn't get to see the whole transformation of Nate Gerry at all. Like the full transformation of him being 100% into the linebacker position, because honestly at this point, the first year he was just, it was bad. It was just, he was learning a whole different position and he's not used to it. So we gave him a little redshirt year. And then, when injuries piled up the year after, he got playing time. He got a lot of playing time. He got a pick in the Redskins game. He did some really good things in 2017, okay? And then when injuries piled up in 17 and piled up in 2018, he got playing time. And you know what? At this point, maybe we're going to see the full version of Nate Gerry. Maybe Nate Gerry will be a steal. I mean, this is going to be exciting to see because you know what? When guys are switching positions, I don't go crazy. We've had linebackers come in through camp and thinking that they're going to be something big. I'll give you a prime example. Joe Walker. When Joe Walker was drafted from Oregon a few years back, he had an excellent preseason. He was making tackles in the backfield. He was blitzing perfectly. This guy was a beast. This guy was a middle linebacker, make all the calls. This guy was a beast. And then he tore his ACL. And I don't know if we released him after that. He was on the roster. And then he came back the next year. He had the long hair. And he looked like a totally different person when he came back. And he was just some backup linebacker. Didn't really come back to his full form when he got drafted. Okay. And then Joe Walker's not here now. Joe Walker, I think he went to the Arizona Cardinals this year. So he'll be with the Cardinals. Other than that, guys, Nate Gerry might have something left. Nate Gerry might have something to show, and he definitely has something to prove as of right now. I mean, if Nate Gerry has, if we haven't seen Nate Gerry's full form, and if Kevin Fajol is that, prideful and happy about how Nate Gerry is doing, and John McMullen is even saying that he's taken all the first team reps, this could be a steal. Now, I don't know about his coverage too much, but I saw him, get a pick. I see actually his coverage ain't that bad. I saw him be in the way of a few receivers and tight ends going up the middle. I saw video on that, and this guy might not be too bad. We just need more time to go by, and we need to see him in some preseason games. I mean, preseason games aren't going to really make it or break it. Just to make a roster, it does, but when it comes to the regular season, it's a whole different ball game. But you want to see these young guys. I want to see guys like Nate Gerry make some plays and do some good things in preseason this year. this coming week. It's going to be really exciting, but I'm not trying to overthink it or overstate of Nate Gerry not doing anything, but this is a guy that's switching positions from safety to linebacker. I mean, maybe he hasn't fully blossomed in the linebacker spot, and maybe he finally is this year. Not a bad thing at all. And we need as many we need to get younger at linebacker. You know what I mean? Zach Brown's 29, turning 30. Nigel Bradham's over 30. You know what I mean? So at this point, you know what I mean? We have to get some young guys in here. Because after this year, we're going to have a real young team next year. We're going to have a very young team next year. We're going to have a lot of young guys, more young guys next year. That's why I want a lot more positions, with the younger guys to make some moves. And get, start to produce a little bit so we don't have to go out and get free agents. So you don't have to go out and get emergency guys to fill spots. But other than that, guys, that's really it. So let me know what you guys think about Nate Gerry in the comment section below. I will see you guys later. Shake Squad up. Fly will slide.